Have you ever had that feeling, that kind of strange sense of emptiness? The one where it feels like no matter what you achieve, no matter how much success you have, it just doesn't quite fill that void inside. It's a feeling a lot of us know, maybe a little too well. Well, today we're going to dive into a concept that might just be the key to understanding that feeling. We're going to break down the journey of healing the inner child, which is really a process of coming back home to a fundamental part of who you are. So let's get into what that really, truly means. I just love this line from our source material because it captures the start of this journey so perfectly. It's almost never some big dramatic crisis that kicks this off. Nope. More often than not, it's just this subtle, nagging feeling that something isn't quite right, that some piece of you is missing. It's the voice of a part of ourselves that maybe we learned a long, long time ago to ignore, and it's just quietly, persistently asking to be heard. And that right there is the first step on this whole path. Just learning to recognize that silent cry. It's about having that moment of honesty with yourself. That moment when you finally admit that all the external things you've been chasing, the promotions, the praise from others, the new car, whatever it is, they're just not working. The real issue, the real ache, is coming from somewhere much, much deeper inside. And this really gets to the core of such a common human struggle, doesn't it? We spend so much of our lives climbing ladders, checking off boxes on some imaginary list, and looking for approval from everyone around us. We truly believe that the next thing, the next achievement, the next relationship, that will be the thing that finally brings us peace. But as the source material so beautifully describes, it's kind of like trying to put out a house fire with a water pistol. The emptiness stays because it was never an external problem to begin with. Okay, so this brings us to a really crucial turning point, discovering what this inner voice, this inner emptiness actually is. So what in the world are we talking about when we say the inner child? I know it can sound a bit like a pop psychology buzzword, but trust me, it has really deep and profound roots. The famous psychologist Carl Jung, he actually called it the divine child. He saw it as this universal archetype that lives inside every single one of us. It's that core part of our personality that holds our purest potential. It's our unrestrained creativity, our sense of wonder about the world, our raw, unfiltered joy. In essence, it's the original you, before the world started telling you who you should be. And here's what I found so fascinating in the source material. It's the connection between this beautiful, innocent part of us and our very real present-day struggles. Bradshaw, who is a real pioneer in this work, explained that when this inner child gets wounded, and we're not just talking about major trauma here, but also the small stuff, those little moments of feeling unseen or unheard or misunderstood, well, those experiences create a sort of blueprint for our adult lives. That wounded inner child can then, kind of act out, causing us to unconsciously repeat these old patterns of fear and self-sabotage and really unhealthy relationship dynamics. Wow, this image from the psychologist Alice Miller is just so powerful, isn't it? It really captures how persistent these wounds are. Think about it. You can't outrun your own shadow. It's always there, attached to you, following you everywhere you go. The only way to stop being controlled by it is to stop running, turn around, and face it. And that, as she says, takes real, genuine courage. So if we can't outrun it, if we can't ignore it, how do we actually begin to heal it? This brings us to the active part of the journey. And honestly, I think it's the most hopeful part. This whole thing isn't about blaming your parents or dwelling on the past. It's about empowering your present self with compassionate, practical actions you can take right now. And this perspective from Oprah just completely reframes the work ahead, doesn't it? looking at past pain isn't a sign of weakness. It's actually an incredible act of strength. It's about finally giving yourself permission to feel the anger or the sadness or the confusion that your younger self might have had to push down deep inside just to survive, just to get by. So this healing journey can really be broken down into a pretty clear 3-stage process. First up is recognition. That's just looking back with your adult eyes and acknowledging, without any judgment, that, yeah, something happened and it genuinely hurt. Then comes expression, finding a safe way to let those buried feelings out, to give them a voice. And finally, and this is so important, there's nurturing, which is all about learning to become the compassionate, stable, loving adult that your younger self always needed and deserved. And the great thing is, this doesn't have to be some abstract, confusing idea. There are very real, concrete things you can do. You know, writing a letter to that little kid you once were can be unbelievably powerful. Or maybe re-engaging with something creative you loved as a child. Drawing, painting, building things. That can reopen those channels of pure, simple joy. And even a simple visualization, just imagining you right now holding and comforting your younger self during a tough memory, that can be profoundly, deeply healing. So here's the crucial point. This isn't a one and done kind of thing. Healing is a practice. It's built from these small, consistent moments of turning inward with kindness. Every time you journal, every time you pause and just ask yourself, hey, what do I really feel right now? You are sending a powerful message to that neglected part of you. You're basically saying, I'm here for you now. I see you, I hear you, I will protect you, you finally matter. And building on that, self-compassion is the absolute bedrock of all of this work. For so many of us, our default setting is just self-criticism. We're so hard on ourselves. Using simple daily mantras can literally help rewire that internal monologue. Gently repeating truths to yourself, like I am worthy of love, or it's okay, I am allowed to feel this. It helps you internalize them, slowly replacing those old painful beliefs with new supportive ones. So what happens when we consistently do this work? Well, we enter the final and I think the most beautiful stage of this journey. At this point, we're not just healing a wound anymore. We are integrating that healed, vibrant part back into our everyday lives. This is about finally, truly coming home to your most authentic self. And keeping this connection strong is an ongoing practice. It's made up of all these little, deliberate choices we make every single day. Things like, do you actually allow yourself moments of just purposeless play and creativity? Do you speak to yourself with the same kindness you'd offer a friend who is struggling? Do you set boundaries that protect your own peace and your energy? It's these choices that keep that connection to your inner child alive and well. And when you do this work, it creates such a profound shift in how you experience the world. You literally move from a state of reacting to life from a place of old fear to responding from a place of inner security and self-compassion. I mean, life's challenges don't just magically disappear, right? But your ability to navigate them with grace and with wisdom, it just expands beyond what you might have ever thought was possible. At the end of the day, this is what it's all about. This is so much more than just some intellectual exercise. Healing your inner child is the path to reclaiming the joy, the spontaneity, and the authenticity that is your birthright. It's about becoming whole again and finally living a life that feels truly and deeply your own. And look, if this is resonating with you, we actually go even deeper into topics like this over on our Spotify podcast channel. It's a bit more informal over there, more conversational, so if you want to keep exploring, definitely come find us there. So, we end right back where we started, with that quiet, persistent whisper. It's there for a reason. It's an invitation. It's an invitation to go on one of the most important journeys you will ever take in your life, the one back to yourself. And the only question left to ask is, are you ready to listen?